What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to part 3 of the LS rebuild. In today's episode, we're going to be doing a few small things, making some more progress, so let's get right into it. Actually, before we start, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment what you want to see next, how you're feeling about the channel, how your day went, anything. Leave a comment. It's good for the engagement. I like to see what you guys are talking about. Today on the agenda, we're going to start with getting this valley cover off officially. If you don't remember, one of the NOx sensors is completely stripped out in there and is completely ruined by rainwater. So we need to completely drill that thing out, get this valley cover off. Next thing we're going to do, go around the entire outside of the block with a wire wheel, get all the rust and crustiness off. And we'll see how much time I have in today's video, but I'm hoping that we're going to be able to start boring the cylinders and measuring them for tolerance, to order up piston rings and order up new bearings and all that, and keep this thing moving along. So getting straight into it, all I'm going to do is I got a small bit, we're going to work our way up and try to drill this NOx sensor out and get this plate off. So I had the camera set up to film me drilling this whole thing out, and it took way longer than I thought it would, so I'm just skipping to now that I have it off because it's not really an important detail. So this is mangled, and that is extra mangled. I had to drill the ever-living shit out of both. Well, this one came out no problem the first time in the last video. If you didn't see that, go check it out. This one, I just had to drill the living hell out of it, and I'm just glad that it's gone. I will worry about cleaning this up. I'm obviously not planning on running NOx sensors anymore, which is just fine. People block this off all the time, but this looks like it's threaded. This piece looks like it's threaded into the block, so I think I can just vice grips on that, get it off, and it looks like the same for this side. So I'm gonna try to do that. If not, we're gonna move on to the next step, which is gonna be resurfacing all these gasket planes. On the oil gallery and oil pan surface, the oil pan I'm not showing in the video, all I did was I used a 220, then 400, and then 600 grit sandpaper on this flat piece of MDF, and it ended up leaving a really nice finish on all of the mating surfaces. A very flat, very consistent surface, mostly just to get off all the rest of the old gunk, but also just have a clean surface for the next gasket that goes on there. I did end up using this method on the head faces too. However, I did not go as low as 220 or 400. All I did was I used the 600, and I did not nearly as many passes as you're seeing in the video currently. I just went over it a few times to knock off a bunch of the higher spots from gaskets or rust, and that seemed to clean it up great, as you'll see in the upcoming scenes. So surprisingly, that worked really well. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't have, but it just seemed like a ghetto kind of method, and it looks pretty damn good. I'm not worried about these little tabs here, here, and here with the pitting. Those are gonna get wire wheeled and painted with the rest of the block. It's mostly just this inner gasket surface that needs to be cleaned up. It looks great. As you can see, there's still a little bit of work that needs to be done to get some of these imperfections out if I want it to be perfect. As is, if someone said run this right now, I would be totally happy with doing so, but I'm actually confident with how this worked out. So I'm probably gonna do this front fascia, which has gaskets, and the back fascias, and I might start doing the head face. I'm gonna do a little bit more research to see if that's a good idea or not. If it is, I'm gonna run it, and if it's not, I will figure something out. So yeah, that works great. So because I have a little bit of daylight left, I am going to start working on wire wheeling the bulk of the block. I'm gonna not really get into the little nitty gritty bits. I just wanna keep working. I've got a little bit of daylight out. It's a beautiful day outside, so I wanna do some work. So it's gonna be a weird jump. I just did some surfacing. We're gonna jump to wire wheeling the block, and then tomorrow I'll come back to finishing resurfacing all the faces, and then I'll probably jump again to cleaning the block some more. So it's just gonna be a whole block prep type of video, so excuse the lack of consistent storyline. I'm not Mr. Beast. I'm just documenting what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm gonna be all over the place, but we're gonna get it done. So I got all of the deck faces sanded down just with some 400 grit, and it looks great. It's much smoother, no more gasket gunk or anything. It's not perfect, but for a backyard job, it looks great. Next step is I bought this cross-hatching tool, this stone grit sander, and I've already tested it on these two cylinders right here. Just went up and down a couple times just to make sure everything looked good, and cross-hatching it leaves looks great. As you can see, I need to do a little bit more work to get some of this scuffing out, and there are a few little spots where I'm gonna need to bore it out a little bit more. So it's not perfect, but it's not that far off. This one I barely touched, and as you can see, there's a little bit more. So I'm gonna try to bore that out. Should look great. I'm gonna go around the entire block through all 8 cylinders, measure to make sure everything is within spec, which I have no reason to believe it's not. Should be just fine, and we will keep moving forward. So after one round of using the stone bore on just these 4 cylinders, round 1, I'm saying, is about 30 seconds each. They look a lot better. It got rid of a lot of the imperfections, and we have some new fresh cross hatching, which looks amazing. As you can see on this cylinder, there is a little bit of what I believe is just staining. I can't feel any of this with my fingernail whatsoever. It feels just as smooth as anywhere else. So I believe this is just a little bit of staining from, I don't know, maybe some light surface rust or anything of the sort. Let me know in the comments if that's bad or something that needs to be noted. But again, there's more here. My fingernail doesn't catch. More here. My fingernail barely catches on this little spot. Might do a little bit more on this cylinder. And then same for the cylinder right here. Can't feel any of this. It's just none of it catches on my fingernail. So I think it might have just been a little bit of water, a little bit of rusting in there, but very minor, not a big issue at all. And then on this cylinder, it's 100% clean. I don't think there's any water or anything that got in there. A little bit right there, but again, doesn't catch on my fingernail. So that looks great. I'm gonna do the other 4 cylinders on the other side. I'll rotate the engine. And that'll be round 1, which will be about 30 seconds, just a light preliminary boring on all of them. And then maybe I'll go back for a second round, maybe a little bit at the top here, try to get some of that staining out in these 3 cylinders, and we'll assess on the other side as well. Finished up round 1 on the second bank of 4 cylinders, and again, same thing. Cross hatching looks great. A little bit of slime there. Cross hatching looks great, and again, there's just a little bit of staining throughout the cylinders. Judging by the fact that these 2 are about in the same spot and these 2 don't have any, I think a little bit of water got in these cylinders, and it's just caused a little bit of staining just from sitting on top of the piston ring. So I think that's just fine, because again, it doesn't catch on your fingernail at all. So that's good for round 1. Before I go back and probably hit all of these with a round 2 of honing, just doing it over again, I'm probably gonna finish painting the block and everything just to make sure there's no dirt or anything on the outside. So before I go back and do all those again and measure for spec, I'm gonna paint and get all the rest of the rust off of the rest of the surfaces. After finishing up all of the prep, removing all the rust and sanding all of the exterior surfaces and gasket surfaces, the engine needed a deep clean. So what I did is I actually ended up bringing it into my shower and going absolutely crazy with some Dawn dish soap and a bunch of different size scrub brushes. I made sure to really get in every little pore, every nick and cranny, all of the oil galleries, and really just make sure all of the dirt and debris was out of this thing. This probably won't be the final cleaning I do of the engine. Probably will do another cleaning fairly in depth with some brake cleaner after the engine is painted. But as you can see, it ripped out a ton of the rust, a ton of the dirt, and I basically just went until no more dirt was falling off of the engine. Here is the block after pulling it out of the shower, all cleaned up and good to go. It immediately started to flash rust, which is not surprising at all. So I ended up wiping down the whole thing with WD-40, except for on the surfaces I was about to paint. So as you can see, I went around with a little brush tool on the Dremel and tried to get rid of as much of the surface rust as possible. Vacuumed all that up and made sure to not leave any of that dust sitting everywhere. So the next step was actually to hit the block with a blowtorch and make sure I really heated up the entire exterior, or all the surfaces I was going to be painting. The reason for doing so is that cast iron is an extremely porous material, and all of the water and oils and stuff I've been spraying at it to clean for the last 30 minutes get embedded in the pores, and you want to make sure all of those oils and waters get out prior to painting. Otherwise, they will try to escape from under the paint, and then your paint job is cooked. So as you can see from the time lapse, it really shows the oil and water getting wicked out of the surfaces of the block. If you're planning to paint anything cast iron, especially something that's going to get hot and cold, you want to be really diligent about making sure the block is clean and properly prepped, as it's going to be in extreme conditions, hot and cold. So definitely include hitting it with a blowtorch or something of the sort to get all those waters and oil out before painting. Next step was just to mask everything off. One tip I used was to just cover all the gasket surfaces with tape, hit the edges with a hammer, and it pretty much leaves a perfect rip mark for you to tear off the tape and leave a very clean edge. Is it a perfect edge? No. Is it plenty good for this application? Absolutely. So I would definitely recommend trying this out. If you haven't tried it, it works in a bunch of different applications, but here it works fantastic for all the contours. After giving it another wipe down with some brake cleaner and ensuring that all of the surfaces were 100% prepped and ready to go, it was time to start putting down some paint. I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but I just used a very common Home Depot Rust-Oleum oil-based paint for this. It ended up working fantastic. It dried fantastic, went on fantastic, adhered fantastic. It was amazing. I saw a few other YouTubers and people online using the exact same paint. It comes in a bunch of different colors if black isn't your style. I just wanted flat black so it didn't stand out too much. I'm not a big fan of when people do bright orange or bright blue blocks. So yeah, the next step was literally just throwing down paint. So after giving it some thorough cleaning, if you see a little bit of surface rust in the block, that's not a big deal whatsoever. In the future, I ever have any issues with it, I can so easily reach up under there and do a few touch-ups to finish it off. This is not a show car, I just want it sealed in. And that was painting the block. I didn't actually plan on putting it in this video, but the video wasn't super long. And that's why I didn't stop to film myself talking through the process. So hopefully that was good enough. If you have any questions and you're painting a block at home, I am happy to answer them. So message me on Instagram or leave a comment and I'll point you with any tips that I did. But more or less, I just taped off all the surfaces I wanted to paint, used the torch trick to get out all the oil and water and anything that was in the pores of the cast iron, taped it off and laid down some paint. Super easy. The paint job, as you saw, turned out fantastic. The video I took of the final result wasn't amazing and I kind of forgot to wrap up this video properly, but yeah, you will definitely see more of the block in the upcoming videos, and I will certainly show the final results and you'll see them. So, but yeah, painting a block is really not that hard. It was super easy. Cleaning it was super easy. It turned out amazing. Restoring the gasket surfaces, I'm sure someone's gonna have something to say about my method for restoring the gasket surfaces. I'm pretty damn sure it'll be fine. I wasn't like holding an angle grinder to the head to cause some crazy grooves, right? This is not a crazy high performance 900 horsepower engine. This is a stock NA rebuild 4.8. So I'm not worried about it. If you're worried about it, relax. Go build your own engine. You'll be good. So that's all I got for today's video. I appreciate you guys watching it. Stay tuned for the next one. Not sure when part 4 is going to come out. As you can see, I am back at college. This is my apartment. So the engine is a few hours away from me. So in between breaks and whenever I can work on it, I will absolutely be working on it and hopefully updating you guys with whatever it is that I'm doing. So stay tuned for more videos though. There are a few coming out about the Lexus, which I'm excited to release. So and I might start a second channel doing some reaction videos. So let me know what you think about that in the comments. But that's all I got for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.